you want yeah. So let's run up and then I'll come around and talk. Right, so think about, just do it slower. So when you do this, right, when you get on your stance, right, when you hold the fist, you think about holding the fist, the sequence. Life is all about sequence. You can do exactly the same thing in a reverse sequence or mark up the sequence. You're going to be in trouble, even though just getting out of bed. So you get out of bed, you get up, you walk to the bathroom, you open the door, you might close the door, and you go to the bathroom. If you mark up that sequence, you're going to be in trouble. You'll be peeing in your bed. Right? It's sequence. Life is sequence. Okay. So to hold a fist, they have a specific sequence. You curl up those fingers first, and then put your thumb. Right? Then you think about this elbow. Right? Now you want to pull this as far back as possible and away from your body. Right? So you squat down and you transfer weight to the right foot first. Transfer the weight to the right foot first. Then you do this circle. Then you transfer the weight to the left foot. Then you circle, right? And knowing how to transfer the weight is also very important. Right? Later on, when you move, when you kick, you got to transfer your weight. And then you think about this central line. You know, you're able to use two arms, attack and defense at the same time. Okay, then you hold your fist, right? Sequence, and then the elbow, right? And then you put the fist in the center. Now you look at the fist. If you're doing that, you're doing something wrong. Every time that you hold a fist, they must line up in a straight line. You cannot afford like this, right? Right. So, because it's already to use. And you aim with the elbow. So you position the elbow out in the center first. Right? The fist has to face outside, face in front. Face in front. Right? That's you're gonna the surface that you're going to meet. Right? That's the surface. Right? So you line up this, that, along with your tire. So then you punch straight away, you do that lao sab, right? Punch straight away and then back here. Right? Every time you come back, you think about that reverse elbow. Right? So the right fist, aim, punch, and then. Okay. Then the left hand out. Right? See, remember I say your eyes leading your movement. The left hand, so you pick out an area that your hands out is going to. That is where you operate this here. Right? So you think about the energy going out, and right? So if your elbow is out, then you cannot stop this. Elbow is in, you know. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Now, see, at the same time, you have to think about the other arm, so that you learn how to use two arms at the same time. Right? So, the lao sao, and then come back. And then you move into the beginning of the fox out position. This doesn't do anything. You just going into the fox out position. And then you pick out an area that your fox out is going to be. Right? And keep the elbow. Right? Now remember, it's very important that you protect your fingers. Later on when we do chi sao, then you know that you're going to lose one finger, you're going to lose the fight. So you must learn how to protect your finger, how to keep the fingers together instead of trying to do the Bruce Lee stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then this use force. Right? Think about force to push. And then you bring it back. Right. Right. Think about things comes in, you can support. Right? And then second time, right? Trying to keep those fingers together. Very important. And then bring it back. And then third time. Right. Third time. Okay. And parks out. And then you open up your palm face. Remember, it's supported by your elbow. And strike straight away. And then the other side. Right. Your eyes picking up an area. Lao sao. And then you start your fox out. And then lao sao again. And then fox out. So you use force. So after third time, parks out. Face in front. Okay. Okay, so we just stop here and just think about it. Maybe you want to ask some questions. Yeah?
Explain the difference between Yun and Lao.
Well, Yun Sao is a general name for any circular movement. So that also classifies as Yun Sao. But that actually you want to do a lao sao, you get away. Someone push you get away and then come around the other side. So lao sao means slipping around.
Oh, Lao is to slip.
Slipping around.
And Yun is to circle.
Yes, lao sao. See somebody, it's like your friend has a wife, very beautiful, and then you lao sao. You slip around. You committed the cardinal sin. Okay. So it means you slip around to the other side. Yun sao. The general movement, when you do a circular movement, is called Yun sao. Right.
Just the connotation of Lao Sao.
Yeah. Lao sao is more specific.
Okay.
that you slip around. Your friend come in the front door, you slip out of that. I don't think you would do that. Okay. But see, learning, unfortunately, everything looks so similar. Right? We know it. But if it's just one day you learn one new thing, you'll be a very enriched person. Because in a year you learn 365 things. Right? And I don't even know 365 things. I've been trying to learn all my life. Okay? So today's lesson is I think at least you learn one new thing. But think about the form. If you think about what are you doing this for? Why are you doing this? Because you fight with contact reflex. You fight with reflexes. Reflexes is a conditional response. So you just condition your mind to respond in a split second. Right? So you cannot tell me that you do this and you're gonna fight differently. Right? If you do something wrong in the form, you're going to make a mistake. Right? That's why you see. I mean, I don't know whether it's a very good analogy, but how do we test it? How do we test martial art? You test it by the looks. You test by how you respond when you're under pressure. So that's why I say you fight. I keep referring to you fight. I don't know how you test it. But is it clear that no? It's very boring. It's so boring that every day I wake up, I do this form. Just so boring. I have to do it. That's why separate me from a lot of ordinary people. They think they know everything. I don't. I just do my swimming form. Okay. Now then we go to the next part. No questions.
So how about the breathing? Is there a focus there? Because in the modified system, a lot of people say section 1 is focused on a lot of qigong or breathing or
in the modified. They only heard about qigong when other people talk about qigong. They are breathing there, and the rule in breathing is every time you strike, you use force, you breathe out. That's the rule. Right? And what you do in between, that's the rule. That, every time you strike, you breathe out. Right? But you concentrate. When I say you're breathing, that you can combine some sort of a qigong exercise. You put your tongue on the upper palate, and you can do the breathing. They call the xiu jiao ting. And you can breathe, and then get the energy to the fingertips. That's how you actually get better energy travel and also protect your fingers. Later when we do qi sao, and you know that if your thumb or your finger in the wrong place, and they become vulnerable. And how are you going to protect it? They're in front of you. Your head is protecting your body. So if you do qi sao, if you do that, straight away you're in trouble. Because how you expect your finger is out in front. So, okay. So with the breathing, you can put tongue up the upper palate. Breathe. But remember that every time you strive, you got to breathe out. So, and that is the fundamental principle about Chinese calisthenics. You know, back in the old days, all the bodybuilders, when they, all the weightlifters, when they lift, they breathe in, and then most of them die before they're 60 years old because they hurt their internal organ. That's the wrong way. So you must breathe out when you swim. All right. Yeah.
How far out should the last one go?
Oh, I mean, you want to economize your movement. I mean, you can, etc. You can come out like this, but you're not making it effective. You economize, but you don't. What I'm trying to say to you is that you don't stick to the arm. So if you stick to the arm, if you stick to the arm, you're not. You're going to get stuck there. So you're going to. All right, but you have to economize that circle, right? See, basically, in fighting, distance. Distance is time. So the longer you take, the longer distance it will take you. Longer you take, the longer time it will take you. So it's distance and time. Okay. So, but this one, you introduce two movements. One is using force, one is using speed. Okay. All right. All right, so we go to the next part, and we can get on to something else. The next part is a palm and a palm and a palm. All right. Now, firstly, this one is to block a kick. Block a kick. All right. So to block a kick, you have to learn to protect your wrist. So if he throws a kick in, right? So you block. See, this is diagonal. But if you block like that, you're going to be in trouble. Right? So it's like this, right? And then the palm behind, right? The palm in front, okay? But you do this in reverse, but you practice this way. You do it in reverse. You do it this one first, and you. When somebody grabs you, right? So you hit. So you get room, so you can hit. Here. So you go 1, 2, right? Remember your eyes, your eyes, right? Then you lift this, and then you do fax out. Then come back, jump, right? And build, chop, lean. Right, same thing that you do by speed. the circle, and then back. Right? So you got from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then backs out, right? And then this, right? See, you do this jump, don't come in here, because you're pulling the other person in. Remember, the force had nowhere to escape. You pull him in like that, you're going to be in trouble. You shoot off balance. So the energy can escape, right? Because you already got the center anyway. So, time, jump, build, right? So this one is, he throws the punch in, turn, jump, build, right? Jump, turn. But if I jump with the elbow inside, he just pushes me, I'm off balance. You're off balance, you can't fight. So, and he pushed me, it's still, so the energy escape away from your body. Not like that. Right. So you look at, after you complete this seminar with your certificate, you look at what they do, then you know how good they are. See, in fighting, you don't fight other person's strength. You fight his weaknesses. Right? So once you know his weaknesses, he's gone. Yeah?
You said a name for this.
Cheung.
Cheung. The other.
Lim. Lim means you figure out.
Cheung is sinking. Cheung is sinking.
See? Yeah, it's the movement. Cheung. Lim. Right. Okay, so 1, right, left side, right, remember you lock up your wrist, 2, right, and 3, 4, and then drop your elbow and then fax out here, turn, jump, see that elbows are away, right, so that the energy goes forward. Feel, Cheung, Lim. Okay, so let's do a few times of this. Where's mine's here?
On the top of the window.
Okay. Cheung, just bring straight down. Cheung, Lim. Cheung, it's not a hit, you just pull it down, Lim. So after deal, Cheung, straight on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try out all those things that, say you throw punch, and you park, and then you come around from one side, you test them, and then you do tan sao, come around. So you test those things. Just get up.
So you rotate around. The person on this side throw the punch, the person on the side do the rotation. Don't throw the punch to you. So, yeah, well, see, you throw the punch, and then you say, rotate.
Finger punch your face.
Right, come on, that's This guard, don't drop your guard every time you stop. Keep your guard. Punch. Come right back up with that punch. Right. Go ahead and do a foul first. Do a foul first. Keep your guard up. Got it.
Yeah, one, so one,
Do 10 on this side. So this is 5. Seven. 8. Yeah. Good. All right. Ten on the other side. Yeah, do 10 on both sides, guys, so you can get the workout. Let's go, this side. Good. Stay on that same side when you show. Yeah, stay on the same side when you go in. Good. Keep your guard up. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work this technique.
I want to work it right. Not just doing it.
This is 10. That was 9. So now we're doing the tan to the rotation. Yeah, so
yeah, when you lay, right? See, later on we do footwork, right? You always lay on the ball the foot first, and also when you lay, always turn your heel up, right? So you have better balance. Once you land on your heel, you're flat-footed. Right.
going tan, rotate. Follow through. All right, go slow. You want me to do it? Let's go. Let's go. Okay, come on. Rotate. Check. 1, 2. 1, 2. Go. 1, 2. The roof out. Do it again. 10. 10. Go. Let's punch off. 1, 2. So you know my punch is not going to stay out there, right? So because my punch is not going to stay, check it. Get him. 1, 2.
Give you all that. If he presses in, you gotta have it. So don't punch.
Stay on one side.
It's no problem, just don't fast first.
Number 3. Outside. I'm going to stop working with you. 4. 5.
If you get that up with a good feet,
Yeah, see.
you gotta have to get up.
One more time to do that. I'm not less. Good.
Oh, it is easy.
All right, let's go. 1, 2. Stay on one side. No, you got 2 more.
Don't fight with him. Don't fight with him. As soon as you feel that, let it go. Don't try to. What time when you give him the position, she's got to feel where you're going.
Good.
Try to get this
1, 2. Right.
You know, I'm focused away from no matter what. This guy
Rotate and go forward. That That's still counting. 5. One, 2, all right. All right. Just make sure you just step with it. Now, whether you want to do this or this one, really don't matter. You do this, you're exposing yourself. Stay on one side.
As soon as you pick your arm up, he's there.
This is 7.
Because he knows what you're doing. He knows what you're doing. He comes in, he's just going to come back at you. So keep yourself. You have to come in, you don't understand the sport, it's okay.
Start. 10.
If you were fighting in a parking lot with somebody and they were on gravel, could you drag your foot?
You just saying 50 feet up.
I've been dragging your foot. I drive a car. It's like driving a car with your brakes on. I did that for 13 years in my life. You ever seen a boxer fight like this?
Yeah, see, you want to check, right? So you punch, you check, right? Then you punch, you check, right? Use your palm. Try to use your palm to check. Don't use your arm to check. Check. Use your palm to check.
The weights at the heels, so you keep that you're going backwards. Relax a little, keep the weight on your toes.
You can't see me now.
That's what happened. I pushed the flash button. Go ahead. Ready? Try it yourself. Jump a lot.
Yeah. And also, see, when you step, right, you always find the position before you move your foot. That's the sequence. Not move your foot before you find the position. So usually, is you punch, you check, then you find your position. So that is the secret. You cannot move your foot before you control the system. Yeah, that's it, right? So you go. See, he's pushing in again once you get outside, that's another. Yeah, there you go. See, I got a lot of trouble with my companionship, with but I loved it.
I didn't see it this time.
Right, you can't spend the same.
It's not right. You want to try to I mean, that is inside your heart. Not a drop your head. Somebody supposed to be touching up. There's no choice. So when you feel this force, you can't fight it. Especially if you put your arm in here. You gotta understand.
Can't go there. You gotta go around for it.
Yeah, you can't. You're not gonna run into force.
Very powerful.
You're not gonna fight this force. You gotta let it go away, let it relax. Just never fight this force. So now you gotta use your hand over top. It's a different story. If he's pressing on you, what you do, you can't
We go.
right. So you gotta keep so don't punch and shoot, not moving your hand here. You're invited to your house. You gotta have these ones. You don't keep this on the body. So it's like you're in the grass. You guys okay?
You know how you're standing up now? You start to fall out. You sit, you don't know what's the matter. That same thing. That's what I'm
See, because you can't do that himself, right? Because he's pushing your elbow. You can't because you go away. Then that's why if you push your elbow, then the actual He's not cooperating.
He said, oh, yeah, he can't even know. He was trying to
So that's why you can't do it himself because
somebody works always at the risk.
on someone to solve. Once in your
So now, so that's what
oh yeah. See, because
try to circle it one before. No, like the other guy. Try to circle like you did before. The pop cells only works for me.
you can't even practice that. Step, four step. It's a four step. Four step. You ever see a four step?
So we're right now, the risk. But ideally,
Yeah, you just need to go
because you can't even do it out on the street. You can do Unfortunately, you know, all
They said bring your leg around. They were because you're still on video.
so you cannot be better than him. You read the letter that was too good for okay. Okay, so after that, we do another box out there across your chest, across the chest to the shoulder, and same thing, we do that lumps out. Okay. Then tongue, tongue stride, and lumps out. Tongue, stride, right? So one, make your eyes following your, guide your movement. Tongue. So in fighting, there's three attributes before you even talk about skills. Three things, right? Firstly, is your heart. You're able to control your heart rate. You're able to control your heart rate. So you can have a clear head, you can have full functional control. They did the FBI did a study 1996. They pulled 4,000 gunfights of the law enforcement officers in this country, 4,000 on that year. So they found that most of the gunfight is between 15 and 10 feet. You know, in that distance, the gunfight. So it's like that. And to their astonishment, that they found that in 4,000 gunfighters, the heat and miss ratio is, is so, so pathetic. If you care to have a guess, what's the hit and miss ratio? I'm talking about professional law enforcement officers. You want to have a guess? Out of 4, how many times they hit? How many times they miss?
60%.
60% hit, 40% hit. 25% hit, 75% miss. That's the ratio. So they thought, maybe it's their skill. Maybe their skill. So they put them into the gun gallery, practice again, and they collect more statistics. It's no difference. 25% hit. We're talking about 12 feet. So they couldn't work it out. Then they realized that there's a thing called the survival stress, traumatic. So the adrenaline released by the body that goes to the heart, and then it gets to their head, and the parts, the agent will have tunnel vision. And they lost their sense of smell, they lost hearing, and they kind of thing, and they go jelly knees, they can't move. So it's from the pressure and the traumatic experience. So in fighting, the first thing is the heart. Doesn't matter how bad you train, how good you train. How well trained you are, how much skill you are. If you cannot control the survival stress element, then you won't be able to produce. So that's why you better keep calm, focus. And the second thing is the eyes, the heart. The eyes, where to look, how to look, right? And how to train your eyes. The third thing is balance. How to make you move with better mobility, better balance, better stability. So the three things before you even talk about skills, before you even talk. So that's a lot of people say a street fighter will always beat the martial artist in the real fight. Because, you just keep calm, you just, keep balance and keep his eyes open, focus. Okay. So you got this one. So your eyes are guiding. It's like playing tennis. You got to watch the ball. You take where the ball is going to be, you're going to hit it to where it's going to be. So your eyes guide your movement. So this one is, he throws the punch in, right? So you throw punch in here. Right? So it is, hang on, no. Underneath that. Yeah. Right. So you go right. And then the tan's out, the gun's out. Right. The tan is in the center, the gun is in the center, the tan is in the center. So it's going out, tan going out. Gun is going out. Tan is going out. Instead of going across. Right? So tan, gan, tan. Okay. So let's run through this section. Okay, so after this section, then you have the bong sao. Remember I say the bong sao is the other side of the tan sao. And also bong sao come from a bird that the fisherman hit the bird with the fishing rod. The bird just throw his wing up. So it's a lifting movement. Is a lifting movement, and then turn, and then strike. Lifting movement, turn, and then strike. Right? So bong sao is from underneath, outside. And then when you turn, you become underneath, inside. So tan sao, bong sao. Right? So a bong sao, tan sao. Bong sao, tan sao. Okay. Okay. So let's practice this. Yeah, tan strike is, yeah. Remember the fingers, right? Remember the fingers. When we start doing the chi sao, you know, you've got to protect the fingers. Okay, so this part is, so, and without moving the body, say, right? So he comes in a bong sao and a tan sao. So you are almost outside of the arm. Then when you do the tan sao, you go inside the arm, right? So that's you know. So you go from here, bong, tan, right? So bong, tan. Yeah, this. So let's practice this one.
Pay off the technique. Even if it's bound away, just scooping it straight up. So go ahead. No, Cheung go punch with this arm. You go over. Like you. From here.
So if you go down,
Be outside, maybe inside.
Anywhere from, normally seminar is in turn, anywhere from 4 It's not like it's just when you step outside.
So when kick comes out, don't worry, so when kick comes out, just need
What we do is
challenge right, find your position.
Oh,
You talk about the sequence. You talk about the sequence.
They see it when we get food. Something like that.
You want to be away from this game.
Okay. Well, you were saying that let them go all time fast. So
I mean, a lot of problem with seminar it's not important to the whole group. They don't No, actually, because I have a contact. They want to go outside and see it. A lot of
Supposed to let Robert Cheung, Hopkins, Cheung,
even myself, I tell my keep going. See it for your own eyes. That's the best way. Don't steer.
they're not fighting. So if they fight, they pick on something. They know that's something they don't really care.
So what's he got?
They
Got
don't
the ball around here. This ball is
and they just want to claim
this is an insult.
What's the
chance of this?
You see how and also they know rappers. They wouldn't let us rappers.
That's all I find.
If they fight, they fight.
I think the newer generation, that's in me
that's right.
And then niggas drop off at any time. Intercept that.
Okay, because it's not a technique as such, we're just doing this, right? It's not a technique as such, right? But just want you to have an idea that how you use this and what you're trying to do, right? And then the last one is somebody grab your arm, shoots out, right? You push out, and then the rope punch, so that it completes the form, right? So when they design this form, because you have to strengthen your stance, so that's why you stay in one position all the time, so you learn to move without rocking back and forth. So that's so that completes the form, right? And then later on in the afternoon we can do some footwork. Once we put the footwork in, then we're going to do some sparring technique or chisao technique or whatever, and see if you can apply some of the things that you learned. So any questions? Anything?
I noticed the first section, the Tanzao, it's kind of like a scooping motion. Just straight up.
Yeah, just straight up. Straight up. Yeah. They have, even if the modified version, that I think was 1957, and there is a group of Kung Fu masters came down from China. Well, they didn't come down in 57, they came down probably from southern China. One fighter was from Mokka, they specialize in low kicks and, so we had an agent at that time, Wong Kiu. I think he's still in Holland right now. He had a big following in Holland. But Wong Kiu at that time was training in Jiaoga, and because he was defeated by us, by one of us, and he always go out and get, he's like a liaison, an agent to organize all these challenge matches. So we went to new territory to fight for the masters. One of them is called, he's got some, when he was, he's got some marks on his face. His nickname is Dao Guai, but he had a very strong kick. He worked in the rice warehouse. So the warehouse, the rice bag is about 260 pounds or something. So they throw the rice bag down, and he would kick the rice bag, and the rice bag would slide along the floor to the corner or something. I never seen it, but that was the talk. Right? So I was picked to fighting, and we already beaten 3 of their masters, but he was the most senior, the most deadly one. So we rode the bus, we chartered a bus, a double-decker bus, and their people was on the top and our, so we went to this hotel and got the conference room, so-called conference room, and then we were and they draw a boundary. I don't know why they did a boundary, but they drew a boundary. It's on the courtyard, no conference room, on the courtyard. So we pulled the chairs out and everybody is sitting and stuff. And the first round he came in, he tried to sweep me. So I kneeled down and I caught his leg. But I was worried. I was worried that his power from the kick. I mean, it's just talk I've never seen. So, but his body is there and his legs there. So I keep punching the leg, but I can't reach to his body. So I keep punching his knee, and he gave up the first round. Right? So my confidence sort of built a little bit. And then the second round we start. I was starting at the corner, and Bruce Lee's there. Oh yeah. So I was there, and then, we were just chatting, waiting for this start, right? Then the referee called the thing start. So I was waiting here, and he was just about your distance, and he said, I was outside the line. So I took one look, boom, and I got sent back to the hotel, right? And broke 2 of my ribs. So I came out. And I came back out, right? So I trying to hit him. So he climbed the wall, he scaled the wall, and go to because it was on new territory, all rice fields. So he was running on the rice field, so I scaled the wall and ran up. And they chased us because they knew I was going to kill this guy. And so he was running along, so I was, running along. And he was doing all right because he was on the flat. But then he saw this little mound, this little hill, and he decided to get on the little hill, right? So as soon as he get on the little hill, he started to slow down, and I started to catch him up. So I got him from the head. Right. So I got him from the head, from behind. So I did that. So I scalped him. Right. So I got his head and the scalp in my hand, and he was rolling on the ground, so I was going to hit him. And these people caught up with us. And because the blood was on the grass and the dirt, and there was spit with, here's a lot of blood right, when you scalp somebody. So I scalped him, and they thought I killed him because he was rolling on the ground and, motionless, and, then they decided to stop the bleeding. And some guy say, oh wow, we'll put some tobacco on his head. So they put tobacco, but it came out through the tobacco, and then they put cotton wool, and then in the end they put bandage, so he was all bandaged up. So it's after that, before the Tan Sao was like this. It's after that, then the Gang Sao, instead of Tan Jat, then it may change Tan Gang because I did the Jat Sao. The kick came in. See, he said I was out, so he charged me. He charged me, the kick, I came in. I blocked the kick, but it still came in through. So that's why they changed the Tan Jat to Tan Gang. That's how this came about. So this guy, so I was the only martial artist ever scalped anybody. I'm proud of that.
So remember the nickname changed that?
Yeah, because it was Tan Jat.
Right.
And he changed it to Tan Gang. And that's how it. So that's why. And you could still in the advancement of Is there any questions? Because this is the form, you just have to do it, right? You have to understand the application, what you're trying to train, right? So, and then after lunch, we go to put some footwork in, and go on to pick up some techniques. But the advantage of Wing Chun is because our weight always in the middle. The weight always in the middle, so that it makes you move faster. Because if your weight leaning, even though you look at boxing now. In the old days, boxers would lean, but now they won't lean now. They all put their weight in the middle. So they can eliminate. So let alone you sitting on the back foot, then you were sitting happy. Because the balance, you have to be able to move both feet, either feet, anytime you want. So that's why we have to learn to put the weight in the middle, and also try not to stand on your heel. Because once you stand on your heel, you're flat-footed. So I know there's a lot of other schools out there doing different things. I personally find that to get better balance, you basically, even your heel don't touch the ground. That's all. Basically, it's, but in the afternoon, we'll go through the footwork. So we might as well break for lunch and then come back. Got his own group there, doing his own thing.
How long is this ago?
In 83.
Oh, his character is still the same. Hasn't changed.
Yes, he was walking around.
I had a videotape it. It shows him walking around. What's the his Wills was there? Grandmaster of Philip Holder was there.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
Yeah, he was there.
Just water.
Hi, sir. What can I do for you?
I
You don't know that story? I pressed it because we have some of the instructors with us now. So I said, how did you become grandmaster?
Come over here.
When he came back,
Come over here. Bring one chair over at the end.
grab a chair from the table.
Your car should
then we got one more.
Yeah, just bring
Oh, wow.
And ain't going this
Came
before.
back, he was a kid, Kaz.
Oh, they
John
took it off.
Boscoli, the little Filipino kids. Well, they said,
They were stoned.
Yeah,
They were
well,
stoned
well, they asked me, so, well,
on
what do we call
cocaine.
this? And what is this? He goes, well, this is the, this is the South, this is the Southern Jersey Wing Chun chapter. And they said, well, he had 2 Sifu, so they made him Grandmaster. So his 3 students voted him Grandmaster of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. At the time, it was in violence. It was Southern Jersey. So since there was nothing going on down there, he made it the North American Wing Chun Kung Fu Association. So they 3 students, and they made him the Grandmaster.
That's how he did
That's how he became it. And if you come to Jersey, I'll introduce you to 3 guys who
Who on that board or
were on
whatever.
that board. And then Old Man Danny was the 4th guy, but he passed away. That was Danny King later. After
Just
he
as
came
well
to
as
the
passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to, 我哋可以幫你寫個 article，或者寫做 interview，
Yeah.
我哋即係
Yeah. But see, I mean, to me, unfortunately, everything that happened is controversial because I know where they come from, what they know, and
the truth can.
yeah, it hurts. It hurts, right? So and they all make out all this and that, and, like Daniel Santo, 83 to 85, he was learning with our system,
he was learning either with me or with my student. Right? And he admitted that for all these years that he was 10 years, he claimed that he was with Bruce Lee for 10 years. And he only learned 3 Wing Chun techniques in 10 years. And that's all he learned. And then they go around and they make up the JKD. It's not Bruce Lee's JKD. It's their JKD. Right? But, you know, they make me a bad person to tell the truth.
I knew when I first heard about you, it was like Jesse Glover's quote. Jesse Glover was his first student.
Yeah. See, I met up with this guy, Richard Leung. Richard Leung actually, from 61 to 64, he was teamed up with Bruce Lee. You know, they virtually day and night. And Richard Leung was my first fight, my first challenge match, and we became very good friends. And Richard Leung did most of Bruce Lee's fighting. Most of Bruce Lee's, because Richard Leung is very strong. Yeah. He does Choi fight, and then later he trained Wing Chun. So he's a gutsy fighter. So every time something happens, you know, Richard Leung will take it out. Yeah, and Bruce Lee in Seattle, Bruce Lee only have one fight with the karate guy. Only one fight. Bruce was teaching in the gym, and then the karate guy said kung fu, you know. So it's a push to Bruce and nowhere to go. And Bruce was.
Duncan used to always talk about you. Duncan mentioned.
Duncan.
Because one time we mentioned about how good Bruce Lee was. He said, "You think Bruce Lee's good?" Ahin was better. We didn't know who Ahin was, and he mentioned about a fight.
Duncan, I was in the boat, and I fought 27 people, and Duncan was sleeping. He was only a young boy, sleeping in the. He didn't know me then. He was in the bunk, in the double bunk at the back. He was sleeping and woke him up, and he saw I was one person that beat up 27 guys.
I remember when he reminded you of the fight at the hotel. Remember at the hotel?
Yeah.
And he said, remember I was the little kid that saw you fight. That's what made him one of the Wing Chun.
He was a little kid. Yeah. So when the boat landed in Australia, he didn't even step out of water. He took the same boat back to Hong Kong to learn Wing Chun. That's how I started Wing Chun.
Yeah, he always mentioned it. He also mentioned some fight you had in Australia and Outback. You fought some guys who had made some bad remarks about Kung Fu or something. Maybe it was the same fight you said. You had to meet somebody in the new territory. No, not new territory. It was Australia. He said somewhere in Australia some guys had made a remark about Kung Fu and Chinese people.
In Australia, I went up to the Hells Angels headquarters and I challenged them. Right? And they did some very bad thing to my friend. So I went up. I said, look, I'm alone and I want to fight your best fighter. Yeah. So I beat up 5 guys. But in those days, one-on-one.
Now they don't do that anymore.
Now
everybody jumps on you.
Now, but you know, so I fought five of the best fighters, you know, and they gave me an honorary, gave me a badge and they gave me an honorary member because I was the best fighter. He said, "We're not going to let you go. You have to accept this," you know. Yeah, but now, but this was 65, 66, before the mafia organized I think the mafia organized the Hells Angels in 1966 or something. Before they
You know this is buffet.
Buffet, yeah, that's fine. You go ahead.
佢呢個有真正嗰啲曼谷定 barbecue， 有炒麵有。
我知啊，但係我唔食肉啫。
哦，佢有 vegetarian 可以炒麵。
好啊。
我唔食豬肉。
唔食豬
肉。But you can make your own vegetarian。
佢識講講。
因為我同佢講得好好。
He's part Chinese.
From the southern. Thank you.
I have tea. I have a pot of
Hot
tea.
tea.
Thanks.
Can you
Hot
bring us
tea.
some pot of tea? That's what we were hoping for. Hot tea.
Yeah. And Bruce answered the phone. Who's that? Hawkins Cheung Hawkins. Who? Cheung Hawkins Cheung. Your buddy. Buddy?
I know they went to school together, academic
Yeah,
school.
they see.
Hang out like a kid.
See how Hawkins get involved was that Bruce wanted to win the Cha-Cha championship. So I sent Hawkins to the Filipino camp to steal the Cha-Cha movement. Yeah, that's how Hawkins get involved, hang around with us. So he went to the Cha-Cha dance studio, the Filipino Cha-Cha dance studio, to learn their movement, and then we brought it back, and we modified it. So Bruce developed 108 Cha-Cha technique, and yeah, and that's how Hawkins get involved. Yeah, and then when we were doing, he might be, I don't know whether he was learning some Wing Chun or after we left. Then in 61 or 62, I can't remember, that he asked me to talk to some guy. Yeah. Just giving him a hard time every day. There's 5 Thai boxers. So that's how he, and then he disappeared. He went back to Hong Kong. But the world is so big, right? You can say this, you're over there, you say this. And then when you're back here and then he's over there, he says this.
Chinese. On the other side is a portrait. Learn
School. We sat in the car and sent them in. I beat him very quick. He was a small, thin guy. And he actually wanted to try and muscle with me. He wouldn't accept. I was putting my hands in his face. I put him down. I was saying, what I got. And he wouldn't accept it. So he went to grab him, so I picked him up, I threw him into the wall, and then I dropped him. He said, 130 pounds. I'm 220 pounds. Do you really think you're going to muscle me? So he sat in the car. I said, come on in. Wouldn't get out of his car. Down extreme, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, they were popular. Everybody's doing that. Everybody.
They say the British are losing them back now.
Well,
No, they can't because people are hitting them. People are hitting them, right?
yes, you won't put this on film, so they can't deny it. You play for them. Dan Persian is their attorney who represented him. Dino, one of our students, a very good friend of mine. We got to talk. I didn't say nothing about anything we did with him. So he was telling us that in the beginning they did okay. But by the second UFC, people figured out how to beat him. The first one you saw was him, right? So the preliminaries, let's say we all fought each other. They didn't care, but when it came to them, they were taking people in the back and they were paying them to lose. And that's straight from their attorney's mouth. When I went down for my contract for Extreme, in the contract it stipulates that you have to fight where and when, but also how. Because I told them I wasn't going to lose, I'm not going to fall. They said, well, we're not like UFC, we're not going to push you to lose. But they wanted in the contract, if I fought with them, to fight for UFC. I said, well, I'm not going to lose. And they said, well, look, you don't have a choice. If there's an up-and-coming star and they want to push them, they got to do it. Because the way it works, you go down, you fight 4 matches. And they guarantee you, if they like you, no less than 4 sponsors, but a maximum of 6. We got Metrex, Pony, all different people that they back you. The only thing is that, let's say somebody's news coming up the line, God bless, he's got a lot of backing. You got to do what they want. And there's one fighter who refused to lose when he was out for Hoist. Hank Abbott, another guy, beat him real bad. We beat him up. I was coming down the elevator, coming out to the stage, he beat him real bad. So all of a sudden, he discontinued and became an alternate. So There's a lot of junk with that stuff. A lot of junk.
Well, lately they've been losing the Gracie
Because
family.
they can't block a punch, they can't block a kick. Yeah, and they start learning boxing and also kickboxing.
You're not gonna get hurt. Yeah, it went right in.
Dan Severn, he's wrestling for somebody too. I can't remember.
No way. Yeah.
Dan.
Well, you gotta remember,
Just
he is a legit wrestler. I mean, he was a collegiate champion. He's just a big bear of a guy, but he legitimately knows how to wrestle. That's why in that UFC, the first time he fought Royce, as a wrestler, he won. He pinned him for 15 minutes. I mean, he didn't know anything about finishing. Second one, he came back, now he's punching and hitting people and kicking people. It was a different story. Royce didn't want to fight.
They all started dropping out after that.
Yeah, all of a sudden now it's a whole big guy can't continue. Yeah, look at that big monster. You stand there, you lay on the ground, he's gonna beat you to death. I mean, all that Taro, he was one of their champions, right?
Yeah.
As far as I mean, that poor guy was a
But he owed
mess.
us.
He was a
Gracie's owe us. Yeah, because they say we can't fight. They owe us. Yeah, we're gonna after them. Yeah, we're gonna set up something in Christmas, just before Christmas, before Father Christmas. Yeah, they owe us.
Well, last fight in Japan, Royce got his. He not only got beat, he got humiliated. He got beat up.
I never saw that fight.
Oh yeah.
Just recently.
In Las Vegas, he was trying to get me pushed to go into UFC. I grabbed Art Davies and said, hey, what's going on? You
Art
got-
Davis, very good friend of mine.
Well, I pushed him.
He owns UFC now. He's a very good friend of mine.
What's going on? When am I going to fight? I said, William Cheung, I said, he's got my paperwork in. I said, you're supposed to get this fight going with the place or something. I said, I don't want to fight some scrub. I said, I want to fight Royce Hickson. Well, those guys really aren't going to come out of retirement. They got too much to lose. They're really not going to fight. You just come down and fight any. I said, no, give me somebody worthwhile to fight. I don't want to fight one of these stumble bums. And, well, they're never going to come out. You'll see, you're not going to fight anymore. You got too much to lose. You really just have too much to lose.
Let's get something. Bad business.
It's all about economics.
Money talks, right?
So that's why he was still in the vicinity. So it's, and then he grabbed my leg. So as soon as he grabbed my leg, I just got a hold of his throat. You gotta tap out, you get killed. Yeah, but they don't have a clue. They can't block, they can't punch.
Now you're doing right.
Wonder who that 5 Animal guy was from Baltimore that fought Royce. He first fought a Kempo guy in a
I
prelim.
think his name's Carl DeLuca, something like
Yeah,
that. Joe
DeLuca.
He
DeLuca.
actually went and he became real good. He started fighting in, it was the Pancration Games. They started doing some stuff in Japan. And he started doing real good. And actually he beat a lot of guys after that. He just didn't know.
He didn't know what he was doing.
He just didn't know how to get out of the unlock. Otherwise, he did real good.
He's the only one I think that got out of Gracie's holds.
Yeah.
He could get out of them.
Because he kept fighting. I mean, he just kept pushing and pushing. He just messed up when he crawled down his arm. He didn't know what to pull his arm. But he did good. Actually, now it became like, a choreographed sport. I don't know the name of it. But they follow like Pancration. Actually, a lot of the wrestlers go in. It's nice routines, and these guys do some nice stuff. They try and make it look realistic. You can see the combos wouldn't flow like that if they get hit. But he's doing good for himself.
And he fought out like a preliminary fight before he fought Royce. Cut the Kempo guy with like a hook kick. Cut him across the eye and cut his face.
This guy from Baltimore?
The Kung Fu guy, 5 Animal guy.
He was one of the few people in there who looked half decent. The rest of them guys just brawlers.
Looked like he had some technique.
Somebody behind you.
There's always somebody who want to jump in
Yeah.
to join anyhow. They always want to
Grappling only works one-on-one.
Yeah.
If he's got a buddy, you're getting a boot in the back of your head or
And
something.
you hear, you can't fight more than one opponent. Really? But that's the answer, because they talked to them. They said, well, you can't fight more than one opponent. That's why all they do is grapple. In the street, you can't fight.
So everybody believes him because they won.
I think you mentioned last year that they had a contract with the U.S. Armed Force and it was canceled after 3 months.
So no, after first week, they pay him $200,000 after first week.
What's he?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
How do you take a guy who's in a fight in the field, especially when they're working with the CIA or the DEA? You're fighting with drug dealers and street dealers. You're gonna start wrestling with somebody on the ground when he's got like 9 or 10 of his friends? They can use you like a pin cushion.
No, on the Bible of the law enforcement, the first thing they say is, close combat, you don't wrestle. You don't go down to the ground with your suspect.
Yeah, you're in a bad position.
Well, because you have a gun. You go in close, they're going to get your gun and shoot you.
Plus his homeboy's gonna stomp you.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Because you don't know who's lurking in the shadow.
Well, another problem they had is a lot of those DEA and FBI agents, it's taking over, they're out of shape.
Yeah.
Most of these guys are in their late
And they
30s, early 40s.
they can't go
start
down.
rolling
They
around
can't go
on the
down.
ground.
They can't go down.
Well, I wrestled in high school in 2 minutes on the ground. I'll take it out of you.
2 minutes, jeez, 1 minute.
Oh yeah.
You get
1
It's
minute.
1 minute round robin to wrestling. No way.
Yeah, you get exhausted. You get exhausted very
Somebody's
fast.
laying on
Could I have everyone's attention for just a second?
Yeah.
Or you laying on
Yeah.
them, you bet.
Come over here.
There's some people.
Take a picture, Keith.
Yeah. Yeah, come over here. Sit down. Benny, you quit this Benny. He knocked out so many good fighters because people didn't know how to deal with it. Right? And then the spinning back fist. Then now if you do a spinning back kick, you get pushed, you get kicked in the backside. You know, I would do that too. So, you know, people start to understand how to deal with the Gracies. You know, they charge in, you sidestep, whack them on the head.
I fought one of the guys in Pennsylvania. To compliment what he did, he fought Muay Thai. He says, well, how are you going to deal with me? I said, well, if you stand up, I deal with you like a stand-up fighter. If you're on the ground, I deal with a ground fighter. I said, but if you stand, I'm not going to wait for you to attack. So he started moving, I charged in, I hit him, I lopsided, hit him in the throat, hit him again. I said, you understand? I said, you want to try to take me to the ground, do the same thing. It doesn't matter. Who cares? They stand up, they go down. It doesn't matter. You just fight them how they are. But they figure if they got hand techniques, they use it to fake them come down. If you put pressure on them, they're worthless.
See, you look at the Muay Thais. When they first came out, they fight like that. Now, if you look at the Muay Thais, they fight like that. Why? Because I have broken this champion's jaw. He fight like that, I just kick him right in the jaw, broke his jaw. Champion. Doesn't matter how you a champion, or you're gonna make a mistake, you're gonna get punished. Right? Now they all fight like that now. Right? Before they come out, they're doing these things. It doesn't make sense. You know, like I think the turn this off. I want to talk about JKD.
They keep advocating cross training. He says it real loud so our guys can hear it. Our guys can change it. What's cross training? You just can't do one part. He can't even do. His favorite is real love with Cheung, but he's not even an instructor.
But they don't have to return to it.
He learns from Francis. And he uses Francis Fong's techniques in grappling. He's the nice people that use the grab, like Wing Chun techniques on the ground. So I just feel like he's doing this stuff so bad. I want to help him, but I don't know his ego even listen. To keep peace, I'll say.
And I was in Toronto, and this JKD instructor came to my center. And it was very, because he trains with Christopher Blake. He spar with Christopher Blake. And at the lunch, and he said, Wing Chun people got no guts. They don't fight. Every time I'm gonna ask them for touch hand, they don't, you know, they scared.
You made the wrong Wing Chun people are fighting.
I say, I'll touch hand with you, after lunch. I don't mind. I'll lower my stake. I don't mind. You're half my age. I do that. Oh no, not you. I say, who are you talking about, Wing Chun people?
right? So every time, you know, in the seminar, I walk close to him, and he just walk away. That's it. I mean, I never been so insulted, you know, getting told by JTD people that we
He
don't.
can't fight, but when you ask him, he doesn't want to do it. I like what you said about how to test the art about fighting. It's the only way to test it. A lot of people try to do kung fu and don't want to fight. You don't have to. How can you test a car unless you drive it? You don't have to fight. A lot of people don't have the heart to fight.
We go, finish.
Yeah. They got, did they write the check? No?
Free.
I got it.
It's discount. No charge.
Yeah, right. No check, no pay. Come back to
But I mean,
I think it's like $7.